The wages of wokeness, the fall of Afghanistan, and Joe Biden's regrets. That's this week on Come On Now. Welcome to Come On Now. My name is Bryan Preston. Thanks for joining us here on PJ Media. Afghanistan has fallen. It's fallen because of Joe Biden's decisions. Those decisions don't just include the ones he made on Afghanistan, but all of the decisions he has made as president. Remember this from a couple of months ago?
And I personally find it offensive that we are accusing the United States military, our general officers, our commissioned, non-commissioned officers, of being, quote, woke or something else because we're studying some theories that are out there. That was started at Harvard Law School years ago, and it proposed that there were laws in the United States, antebellum laws prior to the Civil War, that led to a power differential with African Americans that were 3/4 of a human being when this country was formed. And then we had a Civil War and Emancipation Proclamation to change it. And we brought it up to the Civil Rights Act in 1964. It took another 100 years to change that. So look, I do want to know. And I respect your service, and you and I are both Green Berets. But I want to know. And it matters to our military and the discipline and cohesion of this military.
That's General Mark Milley. He is the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. That makes him the highest-ranking soldier in the United States military. About 6 weeks ago, was he focused on Afghanistan? Was he focused on the threats to the United States? Was he focused on the national security threat that is the border? No. He was focused, along with Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, on making our military woke, on forcing our military to study divisive, racist, Marxist, critical race theory. And he stood behind that decision. Why did he stand behind that decision? Because his boss approved that decision, that boss being both Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and Joe Biden. The fact is, Joe Biden has left us defenseless. Now that Afghanistan has fallen and our military is beating a hasty retreat while Biden is also deploying it back into Kabul to defend the Americans he failed to get out, he says he stands by his decision.
I stand squarely behind my decision. After 20 years, I've learned the hard way that there was never a good time to withdraw U.S. forces. That's why we're still there. We were clear-eyed about the risks. We planned for every contingency, but I always promised the American people that I will be straight with you. The truth is, this did unfold more quickly than we had anticipated. So what's happened? Afghanistan political leaders gave up and fled the country. The Afghan military collapsed, sometime without trying to fight. If anything, the developments of the past week reinforced that ending U.S. military involvement in Afghanistan now was the right decision.
So he says getting out now was the right decision, and then he says he didn't want to hand the war off to a fifth president.
I'm now the fourth American president to preside over war in Afghanistan. 2 Democrats and 2 Republicans. I will not pass this responsibility on to a fifth president.
So I want to talk about this timing for just a second, but before I get to that, I just want to throw this clip out here because this is the clip that will live in infamy for the rest of time for Joe Biden.
I think they're beginning to realize they've got to come together politically at the top, but we're going to continue to keep our commitment. But I do not regret my decision.
Joe Biden says he does not regret his decision to leave Afghanistan to the wolves and watch it get torn apart by the Taliban, and also watch China move in and empower our enemies in general. I'm sure he doesn't regret any of this. He also doesn't regret any of the decisions he has made that have resulted in the destruction of our country to this point, only 8 months into his presidency. Let's look at one of those. That is the choice of Kamala Harris for vice president. Why did Biden pick her? Remember, she wasn't even a strong candidate. She was a top-tier candidate during the election for about 5 minutes, and then she flamed out once people got to know her because they don't like her. Biden picked her not because of competence. He picked her because of wokeness. He picked her because she was a woman of color. And right now, the United States, suppose Biden is incapacitated. Suppose he leaves office. We're stuck with Kamala Harris. Does she have any relevant experience on foreign policy? Does she have any relevant experience at all to deal with the unfolding catastrophe that is Afghanistan thanks to Joe Biden? She does not. Neither do our generals. Neither does our Secretary of Defense. Neither does our Secretary of State. In fact, the United States' answer to this so far has been to send a strongly worded letter to the United Nations about it. That's how unserious, that's how woke this administration is. Joe Biden doesn't regret his decisions. He should, but he doesn't. He is hurting you right now. He has left our border undefended while Afghanistan falls to the hands of the Taliban, which means terrorists will resume training there, and now they can get here more easily. Oh, and guess what? They have U.S. weapons to use against us now. Joe Biden doesn't regret these decisions? Well, too bad. Let's hope America regrets the decision to put him in the White House and take a different course as soon as possible. Come on now. My name is Bryan Preston.